Hey, Omega.
Yes, Gunner.
Do you remember the Royal Rumble in 2005?
With the West Side Story theme, yes, I do.
Do you remember the end of that, the Royal Rumble match? Do you remember what happened?
Was that the one where Vince came out?
And he blew out both of his hamstrings when he went into the ring?
Yes, I do.
It'd be pretty embarrassing if you go out and, as you're walking to the ring, literally injure yourself. So welcome to the club, Sami Zayn. Let's start the show. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode number 160 of We'll Get Serious. My name is Gunner, and that is Omega VR.
His hamstrings weren't the only thing that was blown that night.
That's lewd. And joining us this week is our wonderful technical producer, the one who got arrested for being lewd, Ian of DDS.
It was one time, I was drunk, and it was Valentine's Day.
It was a school full of children, dude.
How was I supposed to know that they would be there when I crashed my Buick through the classroom wall?
Show and tell would never be the same. Speaking of show and tell, let's just start with the news. WWE's first quarter reported record revenue as a result of WrestleMania being included, a 40% increase due to 176.2 million. However, stocks ultimately fell 7% the day of the announcement due to mostly less than anticipated network subscriber numbers. As of March 31st, they had 1.327 million paid subscribers, an average of 927,000 paid subscribers for the first quarter of 2015. They had 259,000 pay-per-view buys for WrestleMania compared to 690,000 last year. However, 1.326 million viewers total, up from 1.185 million last year. Royal Rumble earned 145,000, and Fastlane drew 46,000. Just 46. Most of the pay-per-view buys for WrestleMania were international. So, people who don't have the WWE Network in their country bought WrestleMania this year, and beyond that, we paid the $9.99. So, people have taken the bunch. What do you guys think so far of these numbers?
Not terrible, but, the stock really tells the story, the idea that, they're not doing badly, of course, but they're not delivering big blockbuster type numbers, that kind of thing.
They're doing steady growth, which is exactly what you should expect, considering the fact that there really isn't anyone terribly hot right now, and wrestling isn't exactly at a point where it could explode. So this kind of growth is exactly what's needed. I would rather see this kind of growth, to be honest with you, than I would see, explosive growth.
Right, this is the good kind of growth. This is the kind of growth that lasts, as opposed to the explosive growth, which you don't know how long it's going to go for. I'm sure the Attitude Era was great for business, but as far as creating long-term fans, sure, everyone knew who Steve Austin and The Rock were, But how many of those people were actually, watching Raw every night, and how many of those people are still watching Raw every Monday night now?
Well, the problem with this kind of steady growth is that you never know when the growth is going to stop, and you never know when that explosion, that climax, if you will, is going to happen. It certainly doesn't seem to be happening with Raw. You need a little push, they need to be pulled in a certain direction to help get it more long term.
Another question is going to come up, and I'm going to reveal the Raw rating right now because it's actually news. The Raw rating this week drew 3.57 million viewers, down 5% from last week's 3.76 million viewers. It ended up being a 2.55, which is historically the lowest rating for a Raw ever.
It's really a shame because that was a pretty decent Raw. It felt like they were really trying. But that's what happens when you present a product that people don't think is worth seeing necessarily. I'll put it this way, they always take this attitude that you gotta watch Raw, you gotta watch it, you never know what's gonna happen. Well, when you have 30 weeks where, just as an example, 30 weeks where nothing really happened, and then finally on week 31, something did happen. I mean, you know what I mean? Plus the fact they never advertise anything. The only thing they ever advertise is this guy might start the show, and the Cena Open Challenge, which is a given. They'll advertise a given, but not, this is going to happen, this segment is going to happen, or these people are going to talk, or this match is going to happen. They never do that anymore.
No, because they always want to have the flexibility to be able to change their minds, which is a blessing and a curse. You could change your mind and not do something, but at the same time, the sporadic writing that's actually quality has really hurt their long-term reputation in this particular case. I don't think that if they want to keep growing like this, or if they don't want to be stagnant, like it's what it's turning into, you're going to end up finding them trying to do other things and maybe even pushing boundaries further. But what they should be doing is focusing on a consistent week-to-week product that is actually, consistent as opposed to what they're doing now. So there you go.
Well, speaking of doing it now, TNA recently told the talents that the big planned tour of China is not happening, leaving them without yet another payday. Some see this as a sign that the company is all but dead, that those who have sent out feelers to WWE were told not to even bother with visiting a tryout camp, as WWE is not interested in signing any TNA people. The Observer reports that one TNA wrestler was so upset over his late pay, he actually threatened to go work for Jeff Jarrett if he wasn't paid on time, leading to the office quickly resolving the issue. Many production workers are still upset over management's constant excuses for the late pay, which may lead to something of a showdown at this May 8th live Impact taping, where the crew probably holds a great deal of leverage. Global Force Wrestling revealed several members of their roster during a press conference Wednesday, including Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, Lance Hoyt, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Chris Wardetsky, the former Chris Masters, PJ Black, the former Justin Gabriel, former NFL offensive lineman Quinn Moose Ojinaka, Lady Tapa, and Thea Trinidad. They also announced that Chael Sonnen will be on the commentary desk.
So we waited over a year for this particular announcement. And we got the Bullet Club, or at least the two Gaijin members that, people might know, Lance Hoyt, Davey Boy, Masterpiece, and Gabriel, and some guy from the NFL, and a couple chicks. And Chael Sonnen on commentary. Okay, Chael, I'd like to see this work.
Can we just acknowledge for a moment that TNA has taken a step in the right direction, and that they bothered to actually tell the talent that the tour of China was canceled? Because it seems like in the past they wouldn't have even said anything, and we'd have been doing this story about how half the talent went to China only to find out that the tour was off.
Well, there was also part of a report where they didn't even know about the Slammiversary show pay-per-view was still on until they read about it or heard about it.
LOL TNA.
So when does TNA fold?
We've been
full right now.
We've been trying to predict that. We've been saying that they're going to fold, but
I know.
Man, I don't know.
Pick it now.
Maybe like 3 or 4 more years. I mean, as long as Panda's willing to, give them money, they're just going to keep going.
I've got 18 months. 18 months.
I don't think it's going to be that short. I think they're going to keep going. And
they've only got a 2-year deal with Destination America. And they might kill it before then. 18 months. That's all it's got. And then, goodbye.
Well, speaking of goodbye, Sami Zayn is undergoing an MRI to determine if his shoulder is injured following his Raw debut. Apparently something happened to it as he was raising his arms during his entrance, but he worked and completed the match. Original plans called for King of the Ring to be done over several weeks, with the idea being that you had to pay to see the ending in May, but those plans likely changed with another free promotion being done. Former creative writer Kevin Eck wrote a blog about WWE voting, saying that during his time from 2011 to 2014, it was legitimate and that Vince McMahon would always shoot down notions of rigging the voting so as not to compromise the integrity. He also commented on the state of the Divas division, saying that they were told that there are no faces or heels. It was strongly implied that Divas are all just a bunch of catty chicks, most of whom are mentally unstable. In addition, he revealed that Justin Bieber was discussed for a tag match at SummerSlam with John Cena and Big Show versus the Wyatt family, with the idea being that Cena would eventually give him the attitude adjustment after taking credit for the win. Okay, if Cena was going to give Justin Bieber the AA, I might be okay with this.
Basically, it would turn into another Kevin Federline kind of thing, where it would be a douchebag celebrity who wants to get in the ring and wants to wrestle, and then and Bieber would annoy the fuck out of John Cena because he's an asshole, and then Cena would eventually just be like, and then Big Show would be the one to calm them both down. Big Show coming off as Bieber's friend and whatnot. So then at the end of it would be they'd get the win. And then Bieber would celebrate, and then John Cena would give Bieber an AA, and that'd be it.
I hear he's actually a pretty good kid. I don't know if that's true. Well, I mean,
I heard they said that if Mayweather likes him, then he's okay by the upper management.
Yeah, no. I don't ever want to see him on my WWE television. Sorry.
I'm not at all surprised to hear that they don't believe that there are faces or heels in the Divas division. That makes complete sense, because all you have to do is look at the mess that is the Divas division. I really wish they'd just treat it like they treat the men's division. Instead, they treat it worse than they treat the goddamn tag division, and we've seen what a mess that shit is.
Alright, let's wrap this up here. WWE's new deal with Tap Out is more than just a sponsorship commitment, as WWE has purchased an equity stake in the company, kind of like they did with Out. Steve Austin interviewed Dixie Carter on his podcast, where she revealed that she was promoting USWA events courtesy of Jerry Lawler while attending Ole Miss, and told them they phoned it in, with the audience feeling the fake vibe. Hulk Hogan was offered a spot in the UK versus US themed Celebrity Big Brother. He also claimed that he was asked to join UFC during its inception, but the founder, Campbell McLaren, said it was false. Summer Rae revealed in an interview that she used to work as a plumber after college. I highly doubt that that's the case. And WWE shot down rumors that Vince McMahon is suffering vision problems after a Reddit user posted he thought crew members were using flashlights to help guide him during a post-Raw Pat Patterson appreciation. It was fucking dark! What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't see either! I watched that appreciation thing.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan's a liar. So not only was he
was good.
He had the opportunity to get in on UFC on the ground floor, and he fucked up and didn't do the Hulk Hogan grill. George Foreman did it, and damn it.
But he also was supposedly the lead guitarist to like a band or something like that. He actually can play guitar, and he was like this close to playing in one of those major bands, like the Who or something.
He can't play guitar though. Every time I've ever seen that video of Real American where he's got the guitar in his hand and he's strumming, he obviously has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Like, I'm not a good guitar player by any stretch of the imagination. I can play like 4 or 5 power chords, but I feel like I would do a better job than Hulk Hogan at playing in the Who.
Essentially. The thing is that, you know, especially with all of that nonsense, it's... you really can't believe him anymore. He's a worker. Gotta love it. So, here's the thing. Summer Rae is a plumber. What more likely job do you see Summer Rae doing?
No, I could totally see Summer Rae as a plumber. If you know what I mean.
No, there is no if you know what I mean at the end of that.
If you know what I mean. Yeah, I guarantee you Summer Rae can... She can handle the pipe. Yeah, Omega said it. She can do some caulking. Yeah. She could really handle my wrench.
That was ratchet.
Well, would you prefer if I said
flushes?
Would you prefer if I said she could get her finger in there and dig out my P-trap?
You know, I could make a sign, right? And I could write terrible puns on it. And I could cut it out to make it like one of those, like, you know, free kitties kind of thing with your phone number at the end of it, and hang it at like a community board, and get more fucking bad puns than what we just fucking sat here and did. This was terrible. We're moving on. 15-minute time limit. Ring the damn bell. Yes. This week, 15-minute time. This is the 15-minute time limit. We're going to be talking about the NXT shortly, as we're on the air.
I don't know. Gunner's kind of roboting there. Now we've got dead air.
When is the NXT thing?
It's next week.
Oh, okay. So, we'll talk here about a couple things. If you've been paying attention to NXT, these shouldn't be terribly surprising to you. Rhino versus Baron Corbin will be our first match we'll talk about here.
Well, I don't know why Rhino got sent to NXT. Like, it seems like they could have brought him... It seems like they could have brought him right in... Well, I mean, they could have brought him right into the main roster, but what would he have been doing? So, I guess it's fine. But
yes, we will bring the guy with the main finisher of a spear onto the roster. Like, we don't have enough of those.
That's the point, these notable names who kind of come back to NXT to kind of face these younger guys and really put them over. I mean, rather than just have them on the main roster and then, it's like every time Van Dam comes back, it's kind of, surprise, Royal Rumble. He doesn't really feud with anybody, though. He doesn't really have a storyline, Whereas he does, and others do, in NXT, kind of teaching these young bucks a thing or two,
I guess I would see that.
Right. Let's see here. Let me tell you something. I watched that E60 special, which, by the way, spoilers, that's what you're watching this week in wrestling. Because that is quite possibly one of the best put-together specials about wrestling that's pretty much ever been done. Right up there with, Wrestling with Shadows and, whatchamacallit, the movie. Which one is that? The movie that everybody's seen. 97.
Beyond,
Beyond the Mat. Beyond the Mat.
Ready to Rumble.
The wrong one. Beyond the Mat. Alright, so Blake and Murphy and Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. Please, for the love of God, I hope Enzo and Colin win. Because that would be SAWFT soft if they didn't. How you doing?
Soft.
Well, I guess the thing about NXT is, when they have these title matches, you really, compared to the main roster, you really have all of these challengers that you really want to see win the title, and then they don't, and because they're so interesting and have such great personas and everything, and it's almost a bit of a culture shock because one of the things I maintained was better about the Attitude Era was everybody had a place, everybody had a role and a vision and could. Yeah, and it wasn't, you didn't necessarily notice if somebody lost a match or didn't win a title because it wasn't like, it wasn't like they were just, that was it, they're just tossed aside, it was disappointing, but, they would have some other role at some point, and that's kind of what, it's almost a little jarring to see, like, for example, when with the girls, the Divas, when Bayley hasn't won the title, or when Sasha Banks finally did win the title, people saying things like, well, maybe, you don't want Bayley to kind of get forgotten, and I was one of them, and then that really hasn't happened. She's been pretty predominantly featured on the show still, and it's especially bad with the Divas, because you think, Divas, again, we're trained to think, if you're not involved with the title, then you're just not on the show, and that's just not the case with NXT, so obviously kudos to NXT for trying to build that environment back up, although it really, when it contradicts so heavily what you see on the main roster, it kind of defeats the purpose. But
I don't think that's
I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, I guess the point I'm trying to make here with this tag match, Enzo and them, it would be nice to see them win, of course. Well, particularly because Blake and Murphy don't really. They have a thing, but it's not very deep. It's not very involved like everybody else.
Alright, moving on here. We've got the number one contenders match to the NXT Championship. The people you'd expect to be in this one: Hideo Itami, Tyler Breeze versus Finn Balor. Who gets the shot this time?
Sorry. This is going to be match of the year.
I don't necessarily think so, but yeah, I can see you would say that.
This is, you've got just infinite potential here. Pretty much just Hideo Itami. That guy is just incredible. And then you had, Finn Balor and Tyler Breeze in the mix. It's definitely going to be... Owens and Zayn is going to have a tough contender for match of the night, at least.
I've got money on... I actually think Breeze will win this one.
I kind of agree with you there.
Because I don't think Owens hasn't faced... Owens has already faced Itami and Balor, and one of those... Balor already had a championship match, so I think Breeze is up for his turn.
I'm going to disagree, because Breeze really is a heel. Granted, they could kind of make him the face in the situation, but I think to the idea that Sami Zayn might be out, and... I think Finn Balor, they want him on the main roster sooner than later. Wouldn't be surprised if he skipped his NXT title reign. Whereas Hideo, I think they probably want to keep a little more, kind of hone his craft, hone his English, that kind of thing.
When you say hone his craft, you mean hone his English.
Well, yeah. Well, and the WWE style,
I honestly think he's been doing a really good job of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know how they are. They just kind of, sort of. It might not have been meant to be his official main roster debut, but they've got Zayn on there. They just put Neville on there. I guess
that was his official main roster debut, by the way.
Well, what I mean is, was he going to be on the main roster every week? I don't think so.
Yes, he was. After the John Cena thing? Yep. That was the plan. Till he done goofed.
Well, besides the point. And, Breeze, there's a guy who I really thought was passed by the wayside, and then he's been involved in this feud, and he's been beating Hideo, and they've actually had a feud where they kind of beat each other, and that's another thing that happened in the Attitude Era a lot. People beat each other, and,
Which, raises each other up. Or brings each other down, no matter where you're looking at it. Sasha Banks versus... Is Becky Lynch the adorable cheerleader? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
You mean Alexa Bliss?
That Alexa Bliss, that's what I'm thinking of. Alright.
Yeah.
So Sasha Banks against Becky Lynch. Sasha retains.
Probably, yeah. I see a hard-hitting match, though. Something that's... there have been some really intense matches, but not ones between the Divas and NXT, but not ones that are really, slap out, drag out. That's the kind of...
Crazy matches, yeah.
Diva Lynch is.
I'm looking...
Well, hurry up. We can't be having all this dead air.
What do you mean, dead air?
This dead air brought to you by Gunner's Foot Odor.
What the fuck? Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, NXT Championship.
If it happens.
We've seen this match before, and it's fantastic every time. But, Owens retains.
Yep, Owens retains if it doesn't turn out to be nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean...
Oh, yeah. There's certainly that. It would have been interesting to speculate how they wanted to book this feud, a feud that's so storied on the independent scene already, but now you've got the injury, and...
Yeah, with the injury thing, it's pretty much a given that, they're not going to put the belt on Zayn. That is Randy Orton territory when you're injuring yourself doing a taunt.
It is. It happens. And it's okay. Alright, that's it for the 15-minute time limit. We're going to be moving on here. And I want ice cream.
That sounds fantastic.
Omega's paying for this one because he's going to read the ratings.
What do you say?
Oh, that I only meant well. You should just read the ratings.
Alright, for Impact, the Hardcore Justice themed Impact drew 418,000 viewers, up from last week's 381,000. Thursday's SmackDown, following Extreme Rules, fell hard to a 1.62 rating, down 16% from last week's 1.92 rating. And of course, Monday Night Raw.
I'm sorry, were they up against something? Like,
up against your mama.
Go fuck yourself, Omega BR. Please don't ban me.
Yeah, see, this is why you don't want me doing the ratings.
Oh boy.
Of course, Raw, as we mentioned, drew 3.57 million viewers, down from the 3.76, lowest viewership of the year so far. Number 4 on cable, behind Love and Hip Hop, the NBA playoffs, and Teen Mom, for crying out loud.
Oh man, that Teen Mom. Oh, so basically, one section went to the Love and Hip Hop, one section went to the Teen Mom, and everybody else is just watching the NBA playoffs because apparently it's good this year. Go figure. All right, with the birthdays, Yankum DDS.
All right, so it's time for the birthdays. On the 6th, we have Apollo, Colt Cabana, Yamhuret Samyak, Colt Cabana, Brian Knobs. On the 7th, we have Owen Hart and Niles Young. What? No, I was saying happy birthday in Hebrew.
Oh, okay.
On the 8th, we have Aki Bono, Tommaso Ciampa, and Akira Taugui. That's not even close, huh?
Akira Taue.
Taue. All right. Can we spell those phonetically from now on? On the 9th, we got Bastion Booger. On the 10th, we've got Vern Gagne, William Regal, and Tito Santana. On the 11th is Daisy Hayes and Billy Kidman, again, Young Hulinet, Samyak. And on the 12th, Vic Delicious. Who the fuck is Vic Delicious?
I hope you enjoyed that fake name I put in there. You're welcome.
Oh, god damn it, you got her, you son of a bitch.
I got you good. And now it is time for This Week in Wrestling with Omega BR.
Yes, This Week in Wrestling History, circa 1982, where Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter defeat Princess Victoria and Sabrina to win their second NWA Women's World Tag Team title in Kansas City, Missouri. Jump to 1983, where Jim Crockett Promotions ran Charleston, South Carolina, headlined by NWA World Tag Team Champions Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, defeating NWA United States Champion Greg Valentine and Dick Slater in the main event. And in 1984, the first annual Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions was held by World Class Championship Wrestling at Texas Stadium in Irvine, Texas. 32,000 fans, plus another 123, attended the show, held in the honor of the recently deceased David Von Erich. The results featured Rock and Soul defeating the WCCW American Tag Team Champions, the Super Destroyers, and Fritz, Kevin, and Mike Von Erich defeating WCCW six-man Tag Team Champions, the Fabulous Freebirds. And that was This Weekend Wrestling History.
Happy Trails this week to Jillian Hall, who was arrested for DUI in Orange County, Florida on April 10th. Oh, Jillian, you should be singing. Happy Trails to Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who apparently has been selling signed photos of Hulk Hogan without his authorization, which Hulk called him out on Twitter. He apparently wants to do this one, so he can do it all he wants.
All right, and happy trail to Vince Russo, who's saltier than my nuts after running the Boston Marathon with the Sayonara brothers, and is blaming at least part of Raw's low numbers on Sami Zayn being on TV. He's quoted as saying, "Raw is a television show, and Sami Zayn is not a television star, nor will he be anytime soon. Sami is an exceptional wrestler on a wrestling show, and the only people who care about him are those die-hard fans who are looking for 5-star matches that the massive don't give a shit about." Well, guess what, Vince? You haven't been relative since at least, I don't know, 2002, so why don't you go fuck yourself in a corner?
He's kind of right.
I quit. That was an incredible match. There's no way that the casual fan is gonna tune out just because Sami Zayn is on TV. He's not the reason the ratings were low.
I'm
And exciting matches are what people watch Raw for. They're not watching it for the bullshit segments of fucking divas backstage arguing about God knows what.
Problem is,
you're roboting. That's probably for the best. I don't want to hate you right now.
You know, he could have mentioned something about how Orton and Reigns lost a tag match and then they were booked in the main event to face each other. And all night long, Kane had been giving Rollins the business, and then the entire Authority, Kane included, came out to beat up Reigns and Orton. Except that's probably something he would have booked, so...
Alright, well, it looks like Gunner's having some technical issues here, so let's do what to watch. Gunner's already said his.
E60, behind the curtain.
And I'm going to say that Cena and Zayn match, which was, I mean, I think that's at least in Cena's top 5 matches.
Oh, and from the card this past week, you should watch the New Japan Pro Wrestling main event. Hiroko Goto versus Nakamura for the IWGP Intercontinental title. Good match.
And Omega?
Oh, I don't know.
Fuck's sake, man. This player brought to you by Yankum's Ball Sweat.
Come on, there was a Dragon Gate pay-per-view that just passed, a New Japan pay-per-view that just passed.
I'm sure. Oh, I know. Watch the main event of Hardcore Justice.
Which was what? Which was what?
I don't know. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it.
Alrighty then.
Hold on,
With that
I'll
said,
tell you.
well, while Gunner's looking up, let me go ahead and plug this out here. If you want to check us out, as always, smarksnark.com. We're on Twitter at twitter.com/smarksnark and Facebook, facebook.com/smarksnark, of course. We're on YouTube as well, youtube.com/smarksnark. A bunch of our old episodes are up on there. You can email us if you're a promoter or just you want to be on the show. It's smarksnark@gmail.com. If you want to call into the show, we have an open line. We don't even answer the phone. It just automatically answers. You're on the air. We can't stop you. I probably shouldn't have said that. But anyway, the number is 812-408-WOO. That's 812-408-9666.
Bobby Roode defeated Bobby Lashley in a last man standing match.
I'm interested in that.
There was actually Ethan Carter the third and Rockstar Spud in a first blood match as well.
Yes.
I'm a little bit interested.
Bobby won
in
that match, by the way. Bobby won that match.
First blood matches seem dangerous to me. Because it seems like if somebody accidentally gets a cut...
I think I missed that one entirely.
I'm not paying attention to you. I never do. You know what I do when you're talking?
Bobby Roode against Bobby Lashley. Bobby wins.
Oh. Ha 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 ha. Plug something if you need to.
Well, you got everything in.
You've got nothing.
We got nothing. We're good to go. So thank you very much for listening. And remember, we wish you well in your past, present, and future endeavors.
These past, present, and future endeavors brought to you by Jokar Sarnev. That's too soon.
Get more bags! Get more bags!
Good night, Titusville.